It was a day meant for celebration, the annual school assembly, where students gathered under the giant roof of the auditorium, dressed neatly in their pressed uniforms, sitting in neat rows, waiting for the event to unfold. Among them sat Alina, a shy, soft-spoken girl who had always preferred the shadows to the spotlight. She wore her neatly ironed school uniform, her long black hair tied in a simple braid, eyes cast down to avoid unnecessary attention. Alina had always been invisible to most of her classmates, but not to the school bullies, and certainly not to Tanya, the arrogant, attention-hungry leader of the popular group. Tanya had everything: wealth, followers, and a cruel sense of humor. But what she hated most was when someone else, no matter how quiet, earned admiration. And today, Alina had done just that. The principal had unexpectedly praised her for topping the class in science, and a few claps followed from the staff and students. Tanya's eyes burned with silent envy. She couldn't stand that someone like Alina, quiet, average-looking, and nobody, had stolen a moment of admiration from her. As the event continued, Tanya whispered with her friends, smirking as they cooked up a plan. Minutes later, during a transition where students were asked to come forward for group photos, the moment presented itself. Alina stood near the side stage, nervous but hopeful, waiting for her turn. That's when Tanya came from behind, pretending to fix Alina's collar, and in a sudden, brutal tug, she ripped the back of Alina's uniform wide open. Gasps echoed. Laughter erupted. Phones came up. Alina froze, her face drained of color. She clutched her torn shirt, eyes wide in horror as people pointed, some laughing, some stunned. The teachers rushed in to cover her, but the damage was done. Tanya and her group laughed as if they had just won a trophy. "Next time, stay in your lane, nerd," Tanya sneered. Alina ran off, barely holding back tears, completely humiliated in front of the entire school. But there was something Tanya didn't know. What the school never discussed publicly, what even Alina herself didn't want anyone to know, was that her father was Mr. Cameron Rafiq, the silent majority shareholder and true owner of the school. A powerful entrepreneur, former Special Forces officer, and education visionary who had bought majority stakes in the school under a trust, and chosen to keep his identity hidden to avoid giving Alina unfair treatment. He had always told her, "Earn your respect through your work, not my name." And Alina had done just that. But now, with the video spreading through the students' phones and social media, the humiliation couldn't be ignored. Alina locked herself in the nurse's room, her tears soaking into the borrowed shawl they gave her. Her fingers trembled as she texted her father. "Papa, they ripped my shirt. In front of everyone. They laughed. I want to come home." That message hit like a bullet in Mr. Cameron's heart. His little girl, the one he had protected from the world by teaching her inner strength, was broken by a bunch of spoiled brats. He stood silently in his office, eyes narrowing, before dialing his personal assistant. "I want a full student profile of Tanya Malik. Her parents, grades, social media activity, everything. And I want it on my desk in 1 hour." Meanwhile, in school, whispers spread. "You think she'll complain to the principal? Did you see Tanya's face? She looked proud. Wait, did you know Alina's dad is some big shot investor?" That rumor picked up speed. Tanya laughed it off, until she saw the school's security enter the classroom mid-period and call her out with her entire group. Their laughter faded. Back in the nurse's room, Alina's phone rang. "Don't cry, John. Come outside. I'm here." As Alina stepped out, her teary eyes widened. A black luxury SUV stood outside the building, flanked by 3 guards. Mr. Cameron stepped out, tall and commanding, dressed sharply, eyes blazing with controlled fury. The headmaster followed behind him like a scared puppy. Students peeked through windows as whispers turned to shouts. Tanya's smirk evaporated when she saw the men walking toward the school admin block, because her mother was already there, yelling into the phone, "How dare you call me? My Tanya is innocent." But she had no clue that her voice meant nothing now. The true owner had arrived, and he wasn't here to forgive. The atmosphere in the principal's office was ice cold. Tanya sat with her mother, arms crossed, her arrogance fading second by second as Mr. Cameron scrolled through the footage on his phone. The video of Alina's humiliation played in silence. No commentary, no editing. Just the cruel act, raw and undeniable. He paused the video and looked up. Do you find that funny, Tanya? Tanya stammered, "It was just a joke." "I didn't mean to. You tore my daughter's uniform in front of the entire school." Mr. Cameron's voice was low, steady, but lethal. "You violated her dignity. You embarrassed her publicly. And now, you will face public consequences." The board members were summoned. Teachers, parents, and even a student representative were called in. The school's administration tried to contain the incident, but it was beyond control. A mandatory assembly was announced for all students. Word spread fast, something big's happening. Rumors churned. Then the auditorium filled again, but this time, the spotlight was on justice. Mr. Cameron walked onto the stage. The mic buzzed to life. "You may not know me," he began, "but I know all of you. I own this school. And I have watched from the shadows for years, proud of those who rise by effort, ashamed of those who rule by cruelty." A hushed silence fell. "Today, my daughter was humiliated by your classmate Tanya. And I want everyone to know, this behavior ends now." He turned to the side. Tanya and her friend stood beside the stage, pale-faced. "Effective immediately," he announced, "Tanya Malik and her accomplices are suspended indefinitely. Their actions are not only a violation of school conduct, they are criminal." Tanya's mother screamed in protest, but Mr. Cameron raised his hand. "This is not a courtroom. This is an institution of learning. And we do not tolerate bullies here, no matter who they are." Then he motioned. Alina walked onto stage, wearing a new blazer, eyes still puffy, but holding her head high. The students clapped, slowly at first. Then louder. Mr. Cameron held her hand. "This is what strength looks like. Dignity. Grace under pressure." Alina looked out at her classmates, and for the first time, she didn't feel small. She felt powerful. Over the next week, sweeping changes came. Anti-bullying cells were formed. Anonymous reporting hotlines. A zero-tolerance policy on public shaming. The students finally saw consequences. And Alina. She became a silent symbol of change. She didn't need to speak loudly. Her story had already shouted louder than any words. Tanya's father pulled her out of the school, her social media accounts deleted, her reputation shattered. The same followers who laughed with her, now distanced themselves. Meanwhile, Alina focused on her studies, and took up martial arts quietly. Not for revenge. But so she'd never feel helpless again. The story spread across social media and local news, a real life.